They told me, son, you're special. You were born to do great things. You know what? They were right.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose rapture. A city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. And with the sweat of your brow, rapture can become your city as well.
Get over it and be quick about it. Is it someone new?
Stop laughing at me! A trip to fresh air? Then save up to see Steinman? The ladies will be knocking at my door. I got my phone waiting for me. I'm good looking! Can't they see that?
Steady now. Your genetic code is being rewritten. Just hold on and everything will be fine.
This little fish looks like he just had his cherry popped. Wonder if he's still got some Adam on him. Hear that? Let's buck. Weak! You're a weak chopper. This little fish ain't worth towing it with no big daddy. Yellow! Always have been. You'll be no better off with a metal daddy, little fish.
Bubbles? It's an angel! I can see light coming from his belly. Wait a minute. He's still breathing. It's alright. I know he'll be an angel soon.
You alright, Boyle? First time plasma's a real kick from a mule. But there's nothing like a fistful of lightning now, is there?
How's that? I know I'm not a bad person! Leave me alone! I'm waiting for a woman.
I've got a family. I need to get them out of here. But the splicers have cut me off from them. If you can reach them in Neptune's bounty, then maybe, just maybe... I know you must feel like the unluckiest man in the world right now. But you're the only hope I'll ever see my wife and child again. Go to Neptune's bounty. Find my family, please. Plasma's changed everything. They destroyed our bodies, our minds. We couldn't handle it. Best friends butchering one another. Babies strangled in cribs. The whole city went to hell. That's a child down there. Don't be fooled. She's a little sister now. Somebody went and turned a sweet baby girl into a monster. Whatever you thought about right and wrong on the surface, well, that don't count for much down in Rapture. Those little sisters, they carry Adam, the genetic material that keeps the wheels of Rapture turning. Everybody wants it, everybody needs it.
CIA jackal. Here's the news. Rapture isn't some sunken ship for you to plunder. And Andrew Ryan isn't a giddy socialite to be slapped around by government muscle. And with that, farewell, or До свидания, Jimmy.
You've met Andrew Ryan, the bloody king of Rapture. Now find your way to emergency access.
Too introverted for anyone to notice.
Hey, Mary, going to the big game tonight?
Welcome to the Circus of Value! When you get some money, buddy! No way to
Hold on a second there. Remember what Andrew Ryan says. If you do that, the bandits win. Take your family to Fort Frolic and Arcadia. Go out of shock. It's the Rapture way of life.
success, you'll be needing Dr. Steinman's
Don't
key.
disrespect me.
He's the one who runs this place. But I don't expect him to hand it to you out of the milk of human kindness. Steinman ain't that kind, and frankly, I'm not even sure he's still human. Now you were out of the cage. Here they come.
This isn't some damn flophouse. Blood! The blood! The blood! Come here now! Stop wasting my time, you horrid monster! Run away! You people! How dare you! Come here now and run! Clean it up! Come here now! Stop wasting my time, you horrid monster!
Pretty going home.
I know better! Stop running
Help me find this.
Welcome to the circus of value. Come back when you get some money, buddy.
You promised me pretty, Steinman. You promised me pretty. Now look at me. Look at me.
You keep an eye peeled for Steinman. The daft bastard set up shop in the surgery wing. You want to find him? Just follow the blood. Remember, all them machines will short out right from if you hit them with electrovolt.
Let's get it! Oh!
Welcome to the Circus of Values!
His eye on Rapture. Keep your eye on the parasite.
With genetic modifications, beauty is no longer a goal or even a virtue. It is a moral obligation. Do we force the healthy to live with the contagious?
Why do we have two eyes? Is there some law that says we must? 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 ears.
You'll have to find some way to get through to surgery and Steinman. Chin up now. The Lord hates a quitter. I can hear that splicer sounding off like it's the 4th of July. Explosives are hard to come by down here. But if you get your hands on one of them telekinesis plasmids, you can catch the damn firebombs and toss it right back in his gob. Or anything else that might be standing in your way.
Wallet a little light? At Surgical Savings, we'll happily work out an affordable payment plan for any major procedure.
The finest?
I'm a star, not you! No!
Steinman, I know Medical Pavilion is your matter. But you might want to cogitate on this. Ocean water is colder than a witch's tip. You don't heat the pipes freeze. Pipes freeze, pipes burst. Then Rapture leaks. Now, I realise you're a posh sort of geezer, and frankly, I don't give a toss if you piss or go fishing. But once Rapture starts leaking, the old girl's never gonna stop. And then I'll be sure to tell Ryan he's got you to thank.
Welcome to the Circus of Values! Come back when you get some money, Come back when you get some money, buddy!
In the theater, a woman gets...
The great thing and the great
To my attention that some citizens have discovered ways to hack the vending machines. I should not need to remind each and every citizen of Rapture that free enterprise is the foundation upon which our society has been established. Parasites will be punished.
found you. Ryan's eyes and ears.
Light up foes to 1,000 degrees. Warning, fire spreads.
One thousand had a man or woman.
Makes them all dance to his tune.
Uncivil, uncouth, make it stop! You're always uncivil, uncouth, uncouth! Little nothing! Where are you going? Oh, yes. You're worthless! You're nothing!
German prison camp, they put me to work on genetic experiments on other prisoners. They call me das Wunderkind, the Wonder Child. Germans. All they can talk about is blue eyes and the shape of forehead. All I care about is why is this one born strong and that one weak? This one smart, that one stupid. All that killing. You think the Germans could have been interested in something useful?
Clinical trial Route 23, Dr. Sutro. Client funding futuristics. Work on telekinesis plasmid proceeding well. Lifting objects at distance presents no problem. Moving objects through space, no problem. Cannot stop speeding bullet, but can catch and throw a faster moving object. Problem not with plasmid, problem with reaction time. Stitch, I'm just getting an idea for plasmid.
To everyone, the best things in life are free.
Honey, the moon belongs to everyone. You know, the best things in life are free.
Throw objects at foes. You can even catch grenades and throw them back.
And the stars, they belong to everyone. They're shining up there for you and for me.
The flowers in spring, the robins
tramp.
The best things in life
Shut the door!
Of God.
Approaching a little sister is a criminal offense. Do not approach the little sister.
I am trying to think here! Why are you dragging out your treatment?
Feel your cravings of the circus. Welcome to the circus. Feel your cravings of the circus of value.
I promise to do no harm.
Welcome to the circus of value. Come back when you get some money, buddy.
Typical behavior for someone with your condition. Bleed! Ah! Bleed! How can I help you if you won't come to me? Nurse, help me find this patient, nurse. Nurse, clean this place up. Let's call it a day. I'm the goddamn doctor! Why are you dragging out your treatment?
Today I had lunch with the goddess. Steinman, she said. I'm here to free you from the tyranny of the commonplace. I'm here to show you a new kind of beauty. I asked her, what do you mean, goddess? Symmetry, dear Steinman. It's time we did something about symmetry.
off, Steinman. Head back to emergency access. I'm working my way to the backside of Port Neptune myself. We'll get there soon enough.
To be worth your while, somehow.
Thank you.
The path of the righteous is not always easy, yes. The reward will become clear in time. Be patient.
Tenenbaums playing you for a sap. Those things may look like wee little girls, but looks don't make it so. You need all the Adam you can get to survive. you cross paths with another of them Gatherer's Garden machines, make sure you pick up a new plasmid or two. That's if the price ain't too dear, of course.
Not only are those little girls veritable atom factories, they're nearly indestructible. They regenerate any wounded flesh with stem versions of the dead cell. But their relationship with the implanted slugs is symbiotic. If you harvest the slug, the host will die. So you see, it's not like killing Tenenbaum said. It's more like removing a terminal patient from life support.
BIOSHOCK was groundbreaking in many regards when it released in 2007, though fundamentally it shared many consistencies with Irrational's System Shock series. What elements of System Shock translated into BIOSHOCK, and what was refined, altered, and innovated upon to create the world of Rapture? Let's take a look at the long road from System Shock to BIOSHOCK. Everyone knows where the game ended up, but I think fans would be interested to learn where this game or the idea of doing this game started. And I think, you know, folks know System Shock and the legacy of that game, huge fan base. Did it start as a System Shock game initially?
No, I mean, because we didn't have the rights to that,
Yeah.
right? We kind of felt that there was more game design to mine there. You know, that it was sort of, we did that one game, and it was sort of the first game that really combined shooting and RPG. And it was a very small budget. You know, it was a very small team, and it was the first game we had ever done. So we got pretty lucky, I think, in terms of how well it came out. But the odds were sort of stacked against it. And the team, you know, was really enthusiastic about doing a game like that. You know, and time had evolved, and the team was much more. We had done a bunch of games together, and we were, you know, we had a stable technology base, and we were like, okay, well, let's. Which System Shock 2 was not. I mean, that engine, no game had ever shipped on that engine. It was a very crude piece of technology. Most of us had never shipped a game at the time. So like, well, what if we had a stable technology base, and we had a team that was more experienced and more seasoned, and we had, you know, an actual, like, art director, and, you know, which we didn't really have on System Shock 2. You know, what could we do? And so I think there was a lot of enthusiasm in the team to really try to do a more mature version of that kind of game. this is before we had sold the company to Take-Two, and we were an independent developer, right? We were sitting there, we were using the money we made from other development deals we had, and we would try to scrape together whatever time and money we had to work on this thing. And it was not actually something I was particularly keen on doing. The team was much more keen on doing a sort of a System Shock-ish game than I was, because
That's what you were pitching, right? Like System Shock 3 at one point, right?
Well, I mean, there was an actual System Shock
Right.
3 that we were pitching back in the day when we were right after System Shock 2, but that never happened.
Right.
We couldn't get anybody interested because System Shock 2 sold like 5 copies, right? And so as the business guy, the guy who had to not only just sort of write the content, but the guy who had to go out and get the deals and pay everybody, I wasn't particularly excited about doing this because it was very disappointing when we did System Shock 2 and nobody bought it. It got great reviews, it got these insane reviews, but it left us in a place where it didn't really move the needle for us in terms of making payroll. So I wasn't super excited about it because I didn't see a publisher be interested in it, and I didn't see the audience actually be particularly interested in this kind of game. And it was really the team who convinced me to invest in this because their enthusiasm. I think a lot of them came to the studio because of System Shock 2. And so finally, they sort of battered me down. And it's good they did because I was not the first fan of doing this.
And I know initially there was something called the Serene Dawn. That was a spaceship? Or what was that?
No, that was the name of a cult, right?
Yeah. Sorry, okay.
That one's, I think, been lost to the... If I remember correctly, Serene Dawn was a cult. You were playing as a deprogrammer that was infiltrating the cult, and your name happened to be Carlos Coelho, who was one of our programmers at the time.
It's named after him, yeah. Then there was a story notion that I always really found interesting, which was that you have these cults, and you have sometimes people who they're these sort of characters who are really live on the edge of the gray morality, which is these guys who come in and essentially kidnap people out of these cults or rescue them, depending on how you look at it. Because what it really is, from a functional standpoint, it's a kidnapping, right? You're coming to an adult and you're saying, you're hired by their parents or whoever. And this was in the story. It was like a senator whose daughter joined one of these religious movements called the Serene Dawn, you said?
Yeah,
the Serene Dawn. And I always thought that was a really interesting tension of this hero who's basically a kidnapper and taking a young woman against her will out of the place that she was in. Now, you could also make the other argument that, well, she was not really there by her will. But there's a really interesting conversation that goes on there. I think there was actually a Kate Winslet movie, a Harvey Keitel, Kate Winslet movie, which dealt with a similar theme. Because usually you hear that story, these deprogrammers as a sort of heroic kind of notion. But I always thought there's something interesting about agency going on there, and about are people entitled to make bad mistakes, or is it a bad mistake? It all depends on the person. And I'm not a fan of religious cults or religion in general, but there seemed to be an interesting discussion of freedom there and independent decision making. And I thought that idea was cool, and that was sort of the basis of it for a while. But it was really mostly for the purpose of we needed something to go out and pitch to publishers, and so we didn't have a ton of time to really develop it. So that sounded like, all right, this will do for now.
And was that pre-Underwater City? I mean, this was just like an idea for a story.
We may have stepped away from that to do the cult thing, but then we went back to the underwater.
No, we had that one room, remember?
We had the one World War II room with the roaches on the ground and like these weird test tube things that you could walk around. I don't know where that fell. It could have been underwater. There was no windows.
The thing is, we were a small business, right? And we were trying to figure out a way to sell this thing with spending the least amount of money, because we didn't have any money. We didn't have a pot to piss in. So we would do this demo. That was one room basically, just to show. And I'd write up a document, and we'd take it around. I'd fly around the country, be like, "Here's our room." It was a different time, And
we had just come off of SWAT 4. One of the advantages we had is that we were so familiar with that engine at that point that we could really start cranking through, small rooms and lighting and making things look good. So
I took it on the road to sell it to somebody, and nobody cared. We'd go to a publisher, and look, they have to make money, right? And then we'd say, we say, oh, it's sort of a spiritual successor to System Shock 2, and they'd be like, well, how did that sell? And I'd be like, my mom likes it, and they would be like, well, we can't, and usually we'd be talking to a fan. A lot of executives, like sort of junior executives, were fans of System Shock, and they go to their boss and they'd be super excited, and their boss would open up, you know, their Excel spreadsheet and be like, "No, we can't do this." And I think the pitch probably evolved as we kept trying different permutations trying to sell, but we were also out there trying to sell like 2 or 3 other things at the time. We had a pitch for a game called Monster Island, and
Well, our SWAT 5 pitch was...
Oh, Zombie SWAT.
Yeah, we had just come off of SWAT 4, which was like a hardcore tactical, and we decided they wanted us to do another SWAT, and we didn't really want to do another hardcore tactical game, so we're like, what if we added zombies to SWAT? Like, you're a SWAT team that fights zombies and werewolves. That sounds awesome. And it was like, no, it doesn't.
And this is before, this is like before zombies were a thing.
Yeah.
And so we came up with this thing called Division 9.
Division 9, yeah.
That probably would have been even a bigger financial success than BioShock. Wow. But we couldn't get anybody interested in it.
You didn't have enough werewolves in the demo, I think.
We had 0 werewolves in the demo. Yeah, we were going to have werewolves, weren't we?
Werewolves and vampires. That was the
whole, really?
Yeah,
werewolves,
the whole,
vampires,
like,
zombies?
just throw it all the Universal Studios monsters from like...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what happened was we couldn't sell it, but we were always sort of independent-minded. And so I said, well, what if we sort of did this in reverse? Instead of getting a publisher first and then doing a press tour on it, what if we sort of did the press first? Yeah. And we called up a guy, Andrew Park, who was at GameSpot at the time, who was a fan of System Shock 2 and a great guy. And I said, well, will you come out and look at this thing we're doing and write a story on it? And he was like, sure. And Andrew flew out, and we showed him what we had, which is this very, very rudimentary thing about an underwater base. And he wrote up an article and sort of featured as like, this is the spiritual successor to System Shock 2. And the next day, the phone started ringing from publishers who now all of a sudden saw the article was getting all this pickup and all these comments, and people were excited. And that really, I think, put it over the top in terms of being able to sell it, even though it was not BioShock at that point. It was called BioShock, but it was not BioShock. There would have been I don't think there would have been a game. We never would have sold it without Andrew coming out doing that.
My belly's full of angel's blood. A simple question. Are you
You're ready now. It's time to take on one of them big daddies. It won't be easy, but it's the only way to get to Little Sister and the atom they carry.
On the surface, the parasite expects the doctor to heal them for free, the farmer to feed them out of charity. How little they differ from the pervert who prowls the streets looking for a victim he can ravish for his grotesque amusement.
Thank you, mister. Thank you.
Are you almost back to emergency access? Come through as soon as you get there. You got Ryan's eye now. You won't hear them coming, but it'll be there before you know it.
Welcome to the circus of value!
I'm busy and nauseous.
That's just the plan. Just need to slow down a bit on the slicing. Before you know it, you'll be as right. Remember, a smart slice is a happy slice.
Security alert deactivated. Thank you for your patience.
I don't know how you managed it, but you did. Come through to Port Neptune now. I'm looking forward to shaking your hand.
Ryan, Fontaine, all the same. All with their thumb on me.